Hello, class. It's Dr. Maxfield DiCarlo. I'm tuning in from my kitchen. I apologize that I wasn't able to be there with you this afternoon, or actually this morning, but hopefully everyone got the message, and this is class 1 of our Death, Dying, and Bereavement course. So wanted to give you a little bit of an introduction and record a little bit of a lecture since I wasn't going to be able to be there today. Excuse my coughing. Okay, so my goal for this little brief lecture is to, one, do a little bit of an introduction, review the syllabus, and then also just talk about a little tiny bit about death in society, and and also kind of give you a framework for this course so you understand what's going on. So, okay, a little bit of an introduction. I know some of you have had in class before, so welcome back. I'm really excited that I get to see you again. For those of you who I have not had in class before, I was once in your seat. I graduated from the University of Maryland School of Social Work way back when, and I'm not going to tell you when. Then worked over in shock trauma for a little while, and then in oncology and bone marrow transplant, and then sort of got frustrated with the acute care system and said, I think I'd really like to work in end-of-life care. So I worked in hospice for a long while and worked in working with folks with devastating diagnoses, including HIV and complicated depression with that, and did some research with that. And then more recently, I have a small private practice where I see mostly folks that are dealing with grief, depression and anxiety is really what I sort of specialize in. And then I am the resident counselor for Catholic Charities at one of their independent living, usually 2 of their independent living sites. So get to work a lot with geriatrics as well. And then I teach full time. I am the chair of a master's in counseling program, and then just teach adjunct for the University of Maryland and have for about the last almost 11 years. So this course is one of my very favorites. I love this course because everyone, no matter where you're working in social work, are going to interact with people who have experienced a loss. We ourselves are going to experience loss. Death is inevitable. And so we have to kind of grapple with what we feel, what we think, how we conceptualize death, so that we can be more present with the people that we're working with. So I know lots of you are coming into this class probably with a little bit of fear and trembling, thinking, what did I get myself signed up for here? And I can guarantee you of this, we're going to have a lot of fun in this class. This class is not morbid, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the class. So there's a couple things I want to just tell you a little bit about as we're getting started. My goal for this class is for you to be able to not only learn a lot of knowledge. The 2 books that we have are phenomenal, and you should definitely buy them. I'm sorry, I would tell you if they weren't good. These 2 are great, so you really want to have them on your bookshelf. You're going to get a lot of knowledge in this class, and I know some of you are probably coming in this course thinking, I really want to know is what not to, or what to say to somebody when they are grieving a loss or when they're dying. Unfortunately, there's no real great manual for that. What I will tell you is a bunch of things not to say, things that aren't helpful, which aren't functional, which are not going to help someone's functioning. And you might be surprised by some of those things, because oftentimes in our desire to be sympathetic or empathetic with people, we say stupid things that are not helpful. So hopefully we're going to sort of challenge some of your framework of what you think is helpful in those times when we're working with people who are dying or who have experienced a loss. And also, we're going to do a lot of self-reflection. So that is one of the goals in this course. You'll find that many of the assignments that are in this course are directed right at you, understanding what it is that you believe about death and afterlife and all of those things. And that's really one of the main goals of this course. So things that are not super analytic necessarily, but are going to provide a space for you to really look at what your beliefs are and your thoughts are about death and dying. So those are my goals for the course. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to review the syllabus. Before I do that, I'm going to share my screen. Hold on, making sure. Hopefully this is following me. Okay, so right now I am in Blackboard in our course, and you're going to see, I'm going to tell you a little more about these discussion threads. If you go over here and click on discussion board, you'll come to this. General questions, you can use that, or you can just email me. You'll see that there are 3 threads. I'm going to talk more about those later. There's a culture chart that's related to assignment I'm going to talk about later. What I really want to talk to you about right now is this welcome to the class thread. Because part of your grade is attendance and participation, and you are not attending today, more accurately, I'm not attending today. What I'd like you to do is click on this thread, and I'd like for you, hopefully, see here. Okay, it's thinking about it. Click on that thread and then press create a thread, and I'd like you to respond to that thread and just tell us who you are. Tell us your name, tell us what specialization you're in. It's all right here, so you don't have to remember it. Where you're doing your field placement, when you're graduating, and why you decided to take this course. And so we all come to this course with some very different reasonings. So I want you to just think about it a little bit and think, what attracted me to take this course? Maybe it wasn't something that attracted me. Maybe it was more, I was a little bit scared of the topic and thought I'd push myself, whatever it may be. Just, I'd like you to make a thread there, and that will count as your participation for today. That thread, I'm not going to make it due. I know everybody's going to kind of watch this video at different times until next Monday. So just get it done before we meet next Monday. Okay, so now I am going to share my screen and show you the syllabus. Yay, I know that's what you were really looking for. Okay, so here's the syllabus. We are going to meet in 4E22. I don't know what it says everywhere else. There was some confusion on Friday with my other class, but 4E22 is our course room. And here is the syllabus. This is already loaded on Blackboard so that you can print it off for yourself. I'll have copies next week as well. So here's the course description. Again, my goal is for you to have a lot of knowledge and a lot of self-reflection. That's what we're going for in this course. The next stuff is what I fondly call the blah, blah, blah of every syllabus. You should read it. It's important. I'm not going over it. Required readings. There's a Warden book. This is the newest edition, Grief Counseling and Grief Therapy, the 5th edition. Here's what I'll tell you. Warden's 4th edition is not substantially different than the 5th edition. We've moved to the 5th edition, and if for some reason you were to get on half.com and buy that book for $1 and it's the 4th edition, line up the topics for the reading and you'll be just fine, or get the 5th edition, either way. The other book here, the Niemeyer book, again, an excellent book. You're gonna wanna have both of these in your library if you're at all interested in working with people who have had any kind of loss or in the dying process. So you gotta get both those books. Okay, here's this, additional books that are additional readings. All of these are on the reserves at the library, and I am acutely aware that that's probably not the case. I did email the library twice last week to request that they make sure all of these are available. But the great thing is that if you were to copy and paste this and put it into the search engine at the library, you would be able to get it electronically regardless of whether or not it's actually on the e-reserve list. Right there, you can do a real quick database search and you'll be able to get it anyway, okay? With the exception maybe here of Kubler-Ross on death and dying, which you can probably get for $1 online. Okay, so I'm gonna keep scrolling. Some recommended readings. I will say that one of my, hold on, oops, where is it? Okay. Well, so these are the other recommended readings. These will be really helpful as you're completing your assignments for the course. And again, you can do a quick database search and get them. You might even be able to get them on Google Scholar for free. So, okay. So hopefully the e-reserves will be up and running in the next few days. Again, I've sent a couple little nastygram emails to try to get that working, and I'm hopeful that it will work soon. Oh, what I did want to tell you is that there's quite a bit of reading from this Kassenbaum, right here, this Kassenbaum text. If you type that directly into Google search engine, you can get that on Google books for free. So you just type it in and it'll give you the entire book for free, and you don't have to buy it or go to the library. So there you have it. Okay. Just some tips to make your life easier. Okay, so let's talk about the requirements of this course. Number one, we're going to have a midterm exam. And that midterm exam is a take-home exam. And usually what happens is that I give you between 5 and 7 questions that all are things that we have reviewed thus far in the semester. And you get to pick to answer 3 of them. So you'll have lots of choices. You can pick something that was particularly interesting to you and just show your knowledge and your ability to synthesize and integrate all of the information. So it's a take-home written exam, and you'll answer 3 questions. One of the questions, because it is so important that we do self-reflection in this course, will be a spiritual assessment, because you can't talk about death without getting into some level of understanding spirituality and making space for people's religion and spirituality. So we're going to give you all some spiritual assessment tools to kind of do your own personal assessment of yourself and where you stand on some of these issues related to death. So honestly, that means that you get to pick 2 questions that are more academic, and one is more self-reflective. And here's the thing, folks. The self-reflective question is your kind of personal story. So it's kind of an ace in the hole. I can't say, oh, no, you're wrong, right? So as long as you sort of attend to that and are thorough and show that you put in the good effort, it's kind of a gimme question, okay? So 3 questions. I'll give out those questions ahead of time, usually 2 weeks ahead of time, give you 2 weeks. It should just be a week, but sometimes I'm a pushover. So I'll give it to you for 2 weeks. You write those and you turn them in through Blackboard. Okay, I'm going to skip number 2 for a moment and go down to number 3, the mini media presentation. What that is, and there's a whole bunch of information in the syllabus on that, but let me just tell you what it is, okay? What that is that you are going to think about some piece of media. It could be a poem, it could be a book, it could be a song, it could be a clip from a TV show or a movie. It could be a piece of art. It could be a photograph. I don't know, anything from the media that sort of means something to you as you sort of think about how your personal perspective on death and dying. So it might be a song that was really important to you when you experienced a loss, or if you haven't experienced a loss, it could be a poem that you think is really representative of how you view death. So you have to find something from the media. It can be whatever you like. And it can even be a newspaper article that sort of means something to you about how you conceptualize death and dying. So what you're going to do is you're going to present that to the class in no more than 10 minutes, oftentimes less than that. And you're just going to share that piece of media in some form with the class. You don't need a PowerPoint. You don't, people can stand up and just read their poem or play off of YouTube a song. And then just tell us why that means something to you. And also, if we have reviewed kind of some of the theories and things like that, how that might be reflected, those topics that we've talked about in the course reflected in that piece of media. So it's a very small presentation. I know whenever you hear presentation, some people get a little bit anxious there, but it's very small presentation. You don't need to have a PowerPoint. It's not very formal. It's just that you've taken some time to reflect on something that means something to you. Attendance and participation. If we are not in class for some reason, then I will most likely post a discussion board thread with a really simple question. It might be, what did you take out of the lecture? And you can write something up, not long. I'm not looking for an essay, just something so that I know that you are here and you are listening and paying attention. So hopefully we'll be in class, but if not, then that's the way we'll do that. The cultural comparison chart, as you saw, let me see if I can go back in Blackboard. Yep, here it is. There's a discussion thread where you're going to pick a culture or a religion, and you are going to fill out the chart. And it talks about, any burial rituals, funeral rituals, how they view death, if there's an afterlife, if there's not. And it'll guide you through. The chart has all the information in it, and you're going to pick one culture. And you're going to complete that chart, and then you're going to load it you're going to write it as a discussion thread, just like I showed you before, and post it there. So by the end of the class, or by the end of the time this assignment is due, what you're going to have is a discussion thread where you could print off all of those charts, put them in a little binder, and have a starting point for a bunch of different cultures. I'm teaching 2 sections of this class as well, and the other section is a little bit smaller than this one, and they said, could we put our culture charts in theirs and share so that you all would have a really comprehensive list of all the different cultures and just little things that are important in their death rituals. So that is one of the assignments for the course, is that you're going to complete that culture chart and post it up there, okay? More to come on that as well. You're also going to do a case review paper. This case review paper is where you're going to pick something, a character from a book or a movie or a TV show, and you're going to analyze their grieving process, whether or not it's complicated grief or normative grief, which is very broad. And you're going to do a case review paper. So there'll be more information on that. But for now, you might want to be thinking about a movie or a book that you want to use to analyze a character and their grieving process. And as we talk about theory, that's going to be much easier, because you're going to start seeing the theoretical tenets in how people are grieving. So it'll be that's that paper. Okay, so the very final thing is that we have a final class project that we do in this class. And it is comprehensive on all the topics that we're going to talk about in the class. And it's usually something really fun that the class decides, and I figure out how to grade, on grief and all the topics that we've talked about. So, for example, in after the midterm, we'll start talking more extensively about this. But for now, just so you can be thinking about it, final class projects that we've done in the past. We played Jeopardy, and we split the class into 2 groups, and they came up with answers for the game, and then we just spent the evening playing Jeopardy and seeing which team won. And I graded the questions and the answers, or the answers rather. We've had classes that put together games, all of which were geared towards helping people talk more about grief and loss. and we played games. So we had, you know, like Death Jenga and the Game of Life, but it was the Game of Death, and all things that had questions that were embedded in them about topics that we've talked about throughout the class. We've done a Death Cafe, which is something that's sort of sweeping the nation, where folks are creating a space, going to a coffee shop and having what they call a death cafe. They have questions that just get people talking about death, because we're a society that doesn't like to talk about death. And so there's so much that there's so feared. And the goal is to just kind of put it out there, create a safe place for people to talk about end of life planning and things like that. We have had numerous death cafes. We've done bulletin boards in the School of Social Work. We've done coffee houses. So there's lots of different things that we can do. We'll talk about it as we get closer to the end of the semester. The goal of that is for it to be comprehensive. So we're touching on at least most of the topics that we've talked about in the class. And it's a fun way for you all to just kind of review everything you've learned. So we will talk more about that. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up on the syllabus and tell you a couple things here, just so that you know. I don't actually have any office hours at the School of Social Work. I am there all day Monday and Friday mornings. So I will say, if you need to get a hold of me, this number right here, it says office number, it's actually my cell phone. So it's with me all the time. So here are a couple caveats to that. Please, please, please feel free to just call me. Absolutely love it when students call if they have a question or concern. Please don't hold that. Just give me a call. We can talk about it. That being said, if I don't answer, please leave a message and let me know what class you are in. So I am down at Maryland 2 days a week. I'm teaching 4 classes. And for my real job, I'm also teaching. So if you call and you're like, hey, this is Sally, and I have a question about the assignment, I probably just have to scroll through about 250 students to try to figure out who that is. So please don't do that. Please make sure you tell me who you are, what course you're in, and then the specifics of what your question is. If it works for you to text me, that's the very best way to get a hold of me. You can text me on that number. Again, let me know who you are and what class you're in, so that I know what is going on. And I'm not trying to figure out what class. If I have to spend a half hour trying to figure out who you are, that makes it a little more challenging. So also with that, I would highly encourage that you do text me or give me a call, but also remember that it is a cell phone. So if you are thinking about your midterm at 1 in the morning and think, oh, I think I just want to ask Dr. Maxwell DeCarlo a question really quick about that, and you call at 1 in the morning thinking you're just leaving a message, that phone's going to be right next to me and probably wake me up, and that'll just be sad. So let's not do that. Let's try to keep it sort of within normal business hours. Texting is certainly more flexible, so feel free to text me at a time that works for you. Also, you can also email me. My email address is right there as well. So I try to look at my email at least every 48 hours. Sometimes that gets backed up a little bit, but if you don't hear back from me within 48 hours, please just give me a call or shoot me another message, and I will get back to you just as soon as possible. Okay? All right. So now we've talked about the course requirements, ton of information about blah, 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 right? Take-home exams, and here's more information about the media presentation, the culture chart, the case review paper, more information on that. ADA accommodations, if anybody that applies to you and you haven't reached out to me yet, feel free to do so. Academic integrity, all the stuff that you already know, okay? So here is the course schedule. So we're going to talk a little bit here about death in society. This morning, I'm going to shift gears in just a moment, and we'll talk about that. But the one thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is that on the syllabus, it says that we are going to have an in-class theory debate on February 11th. So we are actually probably going to have to skip over that. We'll see what next week holds. So here is part of the show, and I give you a little disclosure here. As you know, today I wasn't able to be in class. I actually had pneumonia a week and a half ago. And from that, unfortunately, I'm going to require some thoracic surgery that is scheduled for February 11th. And it's pretty intense, and I will be in the hospital for a week and then recovering for 2 weeks. So if you're going, oh my gosh, that's 3 weeks out of the semester, you're going to be gone. 'Tis true. And it's super unfortunate, and I've already spoke with the dean about it. But we're going to make it through, okay? So there's a slight chance that it might be able to be put off, which would be fantastic for me. But if not, by February 11th, I will have lectures that are already put on Blackboard and will release at the time of class, Monday mornings at 9 a.m. For each of the weeks that I'll be gone, okay? So you will tune in through, go into Blackboard, click on the video, and you'll watch the video, and it will be just like we are in class, but you can watch it from home in your bunny slippers. I just wanted to make you aware of that. If that doesn't work for you and you think, wait, I didn't sign up for that, I don't know how that's going to go, I can guarantee you we're going to make it work, and it's going to be fun along the way. But if that does not work for you and you're concerned, I absolutely understand that, and I want to give you the opportunity to switch to a different course or do whatever you need to do with your schedule. I absolutely understand that. Hopefully that won't be the case, but and again, there's a chance that this might not happen. But if so, February 11th, there would be a virtual lecture along with the 18th and the 25th. There would be a virtual lecture for each one of those classes. And then I would be back with you on March 4th, and we would finish out the semester. So just wanted to let you know that. So we are most likely going to skip the theory debate just because it doesn't kind of work with the schedule. And I will just give you a lecture on those theoretical models, okay? All right, so take a look at the syllabus. If you have any questions at all about the syllabus and what's going on, please just let me know, and I'd be happy to kind of address those. Okay? All right, so that is my goal. I think we've achieved going over the syllabus and talking a little bit about what we're going to join. For those lectures on the 11th, February 11th, for participation, I will in fact post a discussion thread just like this little welcome one for you to post something in there. Again, I'm not looking for you to write a paper. I'm not looking for you to be APA correct. I am looking for you to show that you actually watched the video and that you're kind of paying attention, okay? So again, it's a 1-point attendance, so nothing to stress about, not that you have to write a big old paper, okay? All right, so this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video now because I've been talking for a really long time, and I'm going to post another video that talks about kind of the course content for this week. It's much easier to upload them if they're in smaller chunks. So I'm going to stop this video now and tune in to part 2 of the video right now. All right.